Hello, everyone. I'm having such good fun doing these. I look forward to my Fridays. My whole family are ask me, how did Friday go? On Saturday and Sunday, my wife wants to know how the day goes, and her mother wants to know. So I'm repeating everything we're all doing and chatting about. And I think it's really helping me during this pretty boring time. I'm really glad that you guys turn up and make my day, kind of literally. I went shopping this morning. Huge lines. It only takes 20 people to make a huge line because someone's got to leave the grocery store before someone can get in the grocery store. And now the grocery stores are, only allowing 100 people in this part of Massachusetts. That took up pretty much the whole morning. Then I came here to go to 3 stores, So I don't know who my first victim is today, but that's my mundane life. I don't know, did the tree fall on my house last time we met? Or has that happened since we met? My wife was working downstairs in her study and I was up here in my study. And a tree fell on our house and the whole place just shook and it was incredible. No, the roof wasn't damaged at all. I don't know how, but the tree just was perfectly aligned to the roof as it hit it. So it just sort of rested on the roof. So we've had people here for 4 days chopping down trees that any tree that might be suspect or might be about to fall on the house. So that's pretty crazy. So the tree's gone and the roof seems fine. There's a few, whatever they're called, tiles. They're not tiles, they're made of rubber. Shingles.
Shingles, yeah.
They've been ripped off. Anyway, so wow. I'm going to talk to somebody because I could talk pretty much all day and that would waste everyone's time. Megan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm one of those people that I can stay at home or go out. I mean, I'm not working right now. That kind of stinks, but...
Well, nor am I. And that kind of stinks too. So your state doesn't require you to rest in place or whatever they call it?
Yeah, actually they do. Yeah, our county has not been released yet. They're doing it by region based on the number of cases. And as of right now, we're staying home until May 8th.
Wow. And what state, if I may ask?
Pennsylvania.
Okay. What is your day-to-day life like? What do you look forward to during the day?
Right now, I'm just catching up on stuff around my house. I own my own home, and with work, it's kind of hard to, get stuff done. So I'm just trying to.
And you live with other people, or are you living alone?
No, it's me and my animals. I have a cat and a dog.
Oh boy, what kind of dog?
She's a miniature American Eskimo. They're like normally really fluffy, but she developed alopecia, so she has to wear sweaters because her torso is all bald.
Oh, she's a hairless miniature Eskimo or whatever.
Except for her legs and her head, yeah.
I bet she takes a lot of selfies with kids. I don't really know much about cats, and a lot of people are going to be really upset with me here, but people generally don't ask, what kind of cat do you have? It's just like, well, it's black.
Yeah, mine's black.
Is she a house cat or is she an out cat?
She's a house cat.
Okay. Are you in a town or in a
Yeah, I live in a really small town. I live right on the edge, so I'm surrounded by woods. We have turkeys that come through every day, and there's a guy out the road. He was actually on Survivor, and he bought a farm, and he has all kinds of animals, llamas, camels, peacocks. I had a peacock living on my porch for 2 years that was his.
Wow.
It did not want to go home. It liked my house, and it hung out on my porch.
Have you ever seen a peacock fly?
No, I have not seen him fly.
I was in northern India, and I went there for a birthday. A lady who had reached 90, and so I flew out to go and say happy birthday to her. It was a really amazing Indian anything is pretty amazing. But when they do weddings pretty spectacularly, and they do birthdays pretty well too. I stayed in this really beautiful hotel. It was like it was an ex-palace, but it was really decrepit, run down. It wasn't fancy at all, but it was really charming. I thought it was beautiful. But what I could see from our hilltop, where this thing was peacocks flying. And they flew from tree to tree, and they are amazing. They're about 4 feet long in the air because their tail feathers are so long. And I was, my gosh, that's a peacock. I never even thought that. I mean, think of them like chickens. They don't really fly anywhere. And I suppose chickens fly someplace too. I don't know. That shows how ignorant I am. But that's quite something. So maybe you should have gone outside and clapped your hands and see if it can actually take off, or unless it just waddles away. Maybe just a really lazy peacock. But that's pretty
I
great.
don't know, when he shed all his feathers on my porch, so I have a vase full of peacock feathers.
Is the guy from The Survivor really nice, or is he a friendly neighbor?
Yeah, he's nice. He doesn't mind people stopping by the road and watching the animals, because he just has so many different animals. I mean, when he first moved in, I mean, everybody was always walking by his house, parking their cars, watching, because most of us had never seen llamas really. To have the llamas in our town was just a big deal, you know.
They're beautiful. They're really lovely. I went to the Big E, which is a kind of New England expo, a huge show and I go because I love to go and see the animals. I mean, not really exciting animals. They're just goats and sheep and horses and stuff, and huge prize cows and things like that. But there were pens with llamas, and there were kind of hundreds of llamas on show that day. And what I was amazed by, the llamas, apart from, I'm told they're quite kind of irritable, when they actually made a noise, it was so underwhelming. It was like, meow. It was so not this big animal we think make a kind of at least get something out like a goat. But no, these things were like wheezy little things. It's like, hi, or go away, or whatever it's trying to tell me to do. Is that a cat just walked past the thing? There you are. I know.
I have friends that have pretty much been stuck at home. They're elderly.
Yeah.
So I would bake things and, once a week and try to drop it off to them as a treat to.
That's great.
Make them smile a little bit.
What do you bake? What are you baking at the moment? What's the last thing you baked? Muffins?
I made oatmeal scotchies.
Ooh.
Oatmeal cookies with butterscotch chips.
Oh my goodness, that sounds delicious. Are they like Scottish?
I worked at a bakery for 12 years, and when I first started, and then they discontinued them, and I thought, you know what, I haven't had those in probably 15 years.
Wow, delicious. Well, listen, I have really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for giving me some of your time. It's really nice to meet you.
Thank you for talking with me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Hello. Oh God, you don't know me and I don't know where to start.
Start at the beginning.
When I was born?
No, not literally. I was just being flipped.
I guess maybe I'll start by doing this greeting I do with my uncle, like every time we talk.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so around the time I graduated high school, one of the last classes I took was comparative religions, and I was learning about Taoism. My favorite quote was a quote by Zhuang Zi. Last night, I dreamed I was a butterfly floating through the flowers, and then I woke up, and now I'm a man. So now I wonder, am I a man who dreamed he was a butterfly, or am I a butterfly dreaming that I am a man? And both of us have just really been through a lot the past 5 years, just to comprehend our emotions and just let each other know how we're feeling. We just ask each other, what are you today?
That's really beautiful.
And I guess I'll say today I'm just me. Sometimes I don't always feel like me.
I think that's a great attitude. I think that's a really good way to be, because I think everybody has the right to change their minds about who they are every day. And about what they want to be and what they think they represent. I always used to remind myself as a youngster, because I'm neither really black or really white. And so I never fitted into any particular group, any niche. At school, I was kind of neither one thing nor the other. When I was young, it was a long time ago, in the 70s, it was racism was everywhere. I mean, it wasn't even offensive. You were just called something all the time. It didn't stand out as an unusual thing. So I used to remind myself that I could change my mind about who I was. So I think that's really healthy, really cool. And who are you holding? Because I'm just intrigued. That's Garak!
Yeah.
You'd be so upset with me for not recognizing him. Of course it is.
Yeah, the funny story about this doll, originally this year, it was my 21st birthday on March 15th.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Belated.
you. And I was gonna spend my spring break going to New York because my mom is a drama teacher. And she just recently got the job of teaching musical theater at NYU, so she moved to New York. My mom hates Star Trek, but I'm like, she said she'd do anything, so I want a Garrick doll cake. And so we were gonna get the cake ready, and I was gonna go to New York.
Does she think you're crazy, your mom? Does she think you're just nuts because you like Star Trek?
She's just as nuts as I am. The whole reason I got into Star Trek was because of Garrick. one day I was just super bored. I'll just Google a very random question. Who is the most noble Star Trek character? And the top answer was Garrick because of
Wow.
his self-sacrifice qualities.
I'm sure he'd love to hear that. He'll be back one of these days. We've got to obviously got to get him on, and you've got to tell him this story. And did that actually introduce you to Deep Space Nine as well? Or did you get involved in Star Trek, Deep Space before that?
Garrick got me interested in Deep Space Nine.
That's fantastic. What I really like about your story is that you're equating a really brilliant musician with Deep Space Nine, which is a completely different kind of show. What sort of thing are you majoring in?
Ethnic studies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
The study of race and ethnicity and how it's got constructed and like how it affects everyone's lives.
So it's a kind of sociological identity politics. And what's the answer?
Well, I mean, it's such a complex thing that has a lot of like origins and like will require a lot of solutions. You can't solve it all in one fell swoop. So
damn, never mind. That was worth a try. And are you gonna go on doing that? Do you think you're gonna do a doctorate or a master's?
Maybe. I heard like it's kind of, since race has now become is a hotter issue than it was like 10 years ago. Like there's a lot of job opportunities for people with that, or so the professors tell me. I don't know the reality.
I'm sure there is. I mean, I don't know. Not right now, of course, with nearly 30% of the country unemployed. It's there's no job opportunities for that kind of thing, but there will be, and I don't see why there wouldn't be within at least a year. So it's a really honorable profession, really interesting thing to contribute to people's understanding of race. And what drew you to that?
My dad is from a waspy New England, kind of rich, upper middle class family. And then my mom's from a working class Mexican American family. So just like you, I'm also of two worlds.
Yeah. All mixed up.
My family has long speculated that I'm autistic. Like we've tried getting me diagnosed, but the psychiatrist never truly found out what it was.
What do you think?
I think I might be. I have a lot of friends who are like activists in the autism spectrum, and they accept me. And then like
you have a lot of friends who accept you who aren't on the autistic spectrum, or do you feel you're kind of drawn to people like you?
I mean, I don't want to say I'm drawn to people like me because that sounds like I'm really exclusionary, and I don't want to.
No, everybody can. Everybody is. I mean, I think everybody is. I mean, you can be you're allowed to be a little politically incorrect. Say things that might offend one person in 100,000. And especially in this place where we are, you can say pretty much whatever you like. And I don't think, people might get offended, but it's not really about, I don't think everything that is said that is politically incorrect or insensitive is necessarily said in anger and is necessarily intended to hurt. I think maybe if we're a little bit more tolerant of people making mistakes, then we'd be much more relaxed and we'd be better prepared to deal with it when people do actually say things in anger to hurt, even if it's not with a raised voice, but with a silent, clenched fist. And I think those things, that makes this kind of universal sense of hypersensitivity. It's kind of making is diluting the important things, if that makes sense. Because everybody's on edge all the time about even the slightest mistake. So we miss the big elephant in the room, which is the actual anger and the actual intent to disassociate, to make someone other or alien or make people hate people. That's my belief. I'm certainly not very smart about those things. You're actually the one who's smart about those things because you're studying it at school. And, I didn't really ask you about your day and how you're coping with this whole thing, but you seem fine to me.
Yeah, today I went outside, actually went to Walgreens, and I haven't been there in such a long time. I forgot that I had to insert my credit card into the little cash.
You forgot how to shop.
Yes.
Well, now, thank goodness you figured that out again, because that's essential. Well, listen, I'm really happy to have spoken to you, and we shall speak again, I'm sure, one of these days. Bye, little Garrick, if that's what you call him.
I just call him bitter old queen.
Okay, that's we're moving right along. Nice to see you. Hi.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have this opportunity. I'm new to this whole thing. I just started working through your filmography. My favorite is actually Ruba's stuff. She's amazing. This is great as well. I love hearing about all these people.
I'm really glad you think so. I mean, I think one of the corollaries of this social club scene that we're trying to create through these messages and all this stuff that happens on the side of this screen, people exchange Twitter handles and actually genuinely make friends, because you were all in this space in the 220 year, this amazing year that has just sort of imploded. Where are you living?
Right now I'm actually in Naples, Florida, which sounds weird still to me. I moved here in July. I've been living in Cambridge, Massachusetts for 4 years.
What drew you to where you are now?
And I wanted to get into teaching, so this is my first year as a high school literature teacher.
Welcome to teaching.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year.
A new career.
All the teachers I knew, they're like, oh, the first year is really rough, just make it through. And I've been having a blast. I really love it. Then this happened and it's been insane. It's like, wow, I'm going to have some story to tell about my first year as a high school teacher.
Absolutely. What age are the kids that you're teaching in particular?
So I teach 8th, 11th, and 12th grade.
So because I'm British, I have no idea what that means.
So I teach the seniors, so, 17 to 18. So
Okay.
Grade just below that, so they're sort of 15, 16. And then the 8th graders are sort of 13, 14 range.
And what are you teaching them?
With the seniors, we're just starting Heart of Darkness. Which is
Wow.
fun.
So you're teaching them English?
Yes. The 8th graders, we're doing Three Musketeers. And then the 11th graders is my favorite. It's The Great Gatsby, which I got my boss to add to the curriculum. And we're actually ahead in 2 of my classes. So
that's great. What a great book. What did you think of the TV show?
I didn't see the TV series. I've seen the old film with like Robert Redford, and then I've seen Baz Luhrmann's version. Those are the only ones. It's been fun. My school was one of the first to jump to the online platform. So I'm doing everything that I was before, just in my pajama bottoms in my living room.
And what do the kids think of it? Because I've talked to a couple of kids who, on this, they weren't extremely excited about learning from home because they missed the whole social aspect.
Of course, yeah. That's the thing that's really hard to create. At first, they were really excited because it was new and weird, and they got computers, and that was fun for them.
That was fun, yeah.
But then it's like, oh yeah, this is school, it's work. Yeah.
Learning is still boring.
It's a range of responses. I've been able to talk with a few of them via Zoom. I host 5 Zoom conferences. This is every day, so I teach their classes face to face. So I've got them all, and I can call on them, and that's great. That interactive sort of being able to talk with about 100 kids every day, like that connection's still there. So that's
absolutely fantastic.
And I think it keeps them engaged and it keeps them a bit responsible, and they get to see each other, through Zoom.
Sure they do. In a weird way, kids can deal with this probably better than any of us.
My senior thesis advisee, I was having a chat with her and asking her how she'd been sort of coping with the whole thing. And she and some of the other seniors got together to do like a social distanced party, and they went to a park and they all brought their own food, and they were, apart from each other and stuff. And had a picnic, and then they brought art supplies and they painted, and she showed me this painting that she had done with her friends just like earlier in the week. I think
everyone should do a lot more painting. I mean, I'm sort of telling myself that too, and drawing, mainly because A, people will be surprised at how good they are, and even if they don't think they can, and B, because it's a really good time to start exploring that kind of thing, the things that you might normally be ashamed of or not very confident in, because you're at home and you're not required to show it to anybody like you, a teacher, and you can actually just learn something interesting about yourself that way. And I hope people do things like that.
I think that's exactly right. And for people to sort of bring some brightness, I started again. I used to be really into art, and I sort of lost that after graduating from college, and I've gotten back to it.
I have a beautiful thing that my son drew when he was about, I think, probably 7. And it's going to reflect horribly. Can you see that?
Oh, wow. Yes, I can see it.
Isn't that great?
That is awesome.
I absolutely fell in love with this. And he hasn't drawn a thing saying. He wrote a poem too when he was 7 that was just amazing. And he's never written a poem since. And he's never, as far as I know, drawn anything since. But I love that. And this wood was old fencing that around the fields where we lived in Sussex. There were old wooden fences and that just collapsed, and years, and also picked up these fences and made some picture frames.
I love that there's sort of 2 pieces of history there.
So who lives in your house with you?
Nobody.
Nobody. You live alone. And do you teach drama as well?
I don't teach drama. I loved the conversation about Shakespeare last week. Yeah, that was awesome. And I taught 12th night actually just earlier this semester.
Yeah.
And that was enormously fun. I was really nervous about teaching Shakespeare.
Well, my Shakespeare teacher, I think I've talked about it before, called John Binfield. I'm pretty certain that I can kind of point to that relationship as the one that ended up with me being an actor. You are in a position to inspire lots of youngsters.
I mean, that's a beautiful story, and he would love to know that he stayed with one of his students for so long. It's amazing, the effect that you can have. I think actually 12th night, as worried as I was about it, it was some of the best things that happened. There was this boy, and he never talked, and he sort of struggled a little bit with everything, and he just lit right up, and he wanted to be in the play every single time. I cycled through assigning roles so everybody got a chance. We performed the whole thing because it's horrible to sit down and read a Shakespeare play. It's the worst. Yeah. So they had to get up and perform, and he just latched onto it. He started bringing costumes to school. He brought an entire jester's uniform, and our school has a really serious dress code. So we were outside because that gets them to project a little bit more. We've got planes that fly overhead, so they've got to actually yell their lines. Decked out in this entire uniform that he snuck in his backpack. And then none of them wanted to sing at all at the beginning. And at the end, the jester was, or the fool was singing, and the entire class, he was singing to just kind of silly to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something. And the whole class started singing with him in solidarity that he didn't have to stay up there alone and sing.
What a great story. Do you get to do a lot of singing and stuff in your class, like improvised stuff like that?
I know Lord of the Flies was a lot of fun. I actually got in trouble with that one. But one boy, one day he brought a conch shell that he found on one of the beaches down here, and he blew it. And the entire floor vibrated. It was amazing. And then when it came to the bit when the boys are chanting, in this moment, if you listen to me when I tell you to shh, then you can all scream these lines in sync as loud as you want. So we did that. And then the class next door was a Spanish class. And that teacher heard us and was annoyed. So she got her kids to start yelling conjugations at us in Spanish.
Wow.
So yeah, and so then of course that's a challenge, and so we just went back and forth for a bit, and I'm like, okay guys, we're going to be louder than them, we're going to beat them. And one of the other teachers, we loved it, we had a blast.
I wish someone had recorded that. That would have been really cool. That would have been like some kind of rap event. Wow. Yeah.
Of course, and my boss comes in, he's like, you realize how disruptive that was, right? Yeah. I think it's the last class of the day. They've got that energy from just sitting in class all day. I'm great at being organized when it comes to work. I'd be going crazy if I wasn't working right now. I'm really blessed to be working.
Yes, you are.
And that keeps me busy. I mean, after this, I'm going to go grade stuff. So, I do that until I go to bed pretty much. Food has become really uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
And I really don't like cooking. I envy all of these conversations I hear with people who are interested in cooking and making food. Whenever I do cook, there's always more there, and then it feels like it's going to waste because it's more than I can actually eat. And I think part of the pleasure of cooking, I've talked with friends of mine who like doing this, part of the pleasure of cooking is sharing it with somebody else.
Sure thing.
So yeah, I've been a bit lazy when it comes to the food.
Well, I guarantee you will become a cook the minute you decide to live with someone else.
I don't know. I quite like sort of living alone because, aside from the eating and stuff, I like organizing my time, and
I mean, you can actually live with someone and be alone, and in a bad way and in a good way. Like you, I like my own company, and I'm very relaxed about being alone for days and days and days, which I am often at work. The hotels get really boring really quickly because they have, set menus, and you've gone through everything after 1 week, and you're there for 6 weeks. But I'm really cool about just hanging out. But I do talk to people, I as I've said before, I'll play online. My wife and I, we have a kind of separate existence in the same house. We sweep by each other all the time, and we'll eat dinner together, and we do very much lead our own independent lives. It's not the kind of the death of your individuality if you end up living with someone.
That's true. That sounds like a nice arrangement. I like that idea.
Yeah, it works. It's really lovely meeting you. That's our dog, by the way, Sophia. She's telling someone outside that they have no right to be in Massachusetts. What a beautiful room you have.
Thank you. It's my bedroom. Thank you. Oh. That's a painting. This was actually a painting that hung in my childhood bedroom my entire life. And then when I got married and moved away, I took it with me.
Of course.
So now
it's yours. Whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm from Croatia.
Wow. Okay. Gorgeous place.
It is. It really is. I'm going to be moving soon.
Where to?
Edinburgh, Scotland.
Wow. Is that where your
Yes.
husband's from?
No. My husband's Croatian, just like I am. We've actually wanted to move because of my career. I'm an actress.
Fantastic.
Sing in musicals. For the past year and a half, I've been singing in a cabaret.
So you were doing some cabaret and Chicago. I'm not sure if it's my internet or your internet, but something all slowed down there.
Okay. So as I was saying, we spent the last year and a half in a cabaret in Zagreb.
Wow. And what was your favorite one? Which one did you like? The workers. I'm assuming it wasn't Cabaret the musical Cabaret. It was a cabaret. A night. And,
it's a show.
But not like Liza Minnelli's Cabaret.
There were some numbers from the actual cabaret as well, but I didn't get to perform them.
Oh wow, it's one of my favorite musicals. What's going on in Zagreb?
We're slowly coming out of the quarantine now, which is good.
People been really good about it?
Oh, they've been good mostly. They have started to relax way too much and they've started breaking the rules. Now they think, oh, it's past and we can just go back to being relaxed and everything.
What made you choose Edinburgh?
Supposedly there's more theater work, which is kind of more my vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't surprise me.
I also have a friend who's a playwright that I used to cooperate with, before.
Okay.
I was in a lot of the musicals that he directed.
Fantastic. So, and how are you going to get the visa thing sorted out? Because I know that Britain has left the European Union now.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are the same until the end of this year. So if we still move, during this year, then it should be fine.
Oh, okay. That's great. I wish you good luck with that. Do you have any experience of the town?
No, I've never been there. I've never been to any English-speaking country ever. Oh, I've been to France. I've been to a lot of places, but never to an English-speaking country, and it's a bit.
So you chose Edinburgh because you believe there's opportunity there, and you may well be right about that. But you chose it because that's where your friend is, your collaborative friend.
Yeah. Also, and actually, since I started writing fan fiction for DS9, I've met a lot of people, and one of the people that I've met was actually a girl who lives in Edinburgh, and she finished her bachelor's in drama in theater. So
fantastic.
So I actually, despite not knowing anybody, despite never having set foot in there, I actually, maybe.
And how does your partner feel about
some kind of connection? Well, he was not very thrilled about that because he's a good man. He's at least employable, so he's actually got a job.
And what kind of thing does he do?
He's a software engineer.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's very employable, and he's prepared to leave his family and friends to go to you to Edinburgh. Yeah,
I've been planning it for over a year, but then.
Well, I think you should go get him. Sing your heart out and entertain some folk, because that would be just fantastic for the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm just scared, of not being good enough.
We all are. And you're certainly good enough to work in Zagreb, so I don't see why that would be.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I mean, I know French. I've studied it for 20 years, so.
Wow, you know English very well too.
Yeah, my English is actually better than my French, which is sad.
Yes, no, it's all terrific.
I told myself I would actually do this interview in a British accent, but I failed. Now I'd have to switch in my mind, and go, okay, I'm going to speak the rest of it like a Brit.
Actually, that's a really good accent. And when you just switched it on there for that bit, British accent is really hard.
As long as you don't ask me to do Scottish, that's where I would fail.
You'll be an expert at that after a while. You're going to Edinburgh, one of the most beautiful, by the way, cities in Scotland.
Yes, I know.
It's really gorgeous. And the people are phenomenally friendly. Really lovely part of the world. And what do you dream that you will do first?
I'd actually like to reprise one of the roles I've done here, a slightly better production.
Yeah.
I've been Mina in Dracula, Wildhorn's musical. Not many people really know about Frank Wildhorn's musicals, but it's really great. I've been Mina and I loved it. That's like the main role.
Have you thought of putting together a show like your cabaret? Because not many people have experience of doing cabaret, but doing it for YouTube, just with a couple of friends, or get it ready for YouTube, not necessarily get it on film, is what I'm saying. And that might help you as a calling card for when you go to Edinburgh, to say, this is the kind of thing I do. And at the same time, you might be able to put a smile on some of the dreary faces in these COVID times.
I've actually been inspired lately. I've been writing a lot. I've been composing a lot. Let's
Fantastic.
start drawing again. Let's start making music again. And actually recorded 12 piano pieces in the past 3 months, I think.
Wow.
With 2 pieces having a vocal arrangement. Yeah, it's all for a fan fiction that I'm writing, actually. So the fan fiction that I'm writing is going to have a soundtrack.
That sounds really exciting, actually. It sounds really good fun.
My mind kind of exploded last time when I saw Andrew Robinson in the chat. One of my dreams was to meet him, even over camera. It doesn't really matter, because I would never have enough money to fly to a convention. But just to meet him and to tell him, he's inspired me so much with a Stitch in Time.
I'm really glad to hear that. You're the second person today. That's fantastic.
Yes. You know, with some actors, you feel, when I read A Stitch in Time, there's a lot of quotes in there that would just pinging around my head. And that felt like, you know, not just like something that was written, but as a universal truth. For instance, what he wrote about relationships, saying a relationship is over once you feel you have nothing left to learn from the person you're with. But a relationship can also be over if you're too afraid to learn something new about yourself. This feels like actual wisdom.
It is actual wisdom. That's because it really is wisdom. Yeah, you're right.
It is wisdom. And that's how it read to me.
Smart. Yeah.
And I loved it so much that I wrote basically a continuation of A Stitch in Time, where
Fantastic.
Julian and Garrick don't get to be super depressed for the rest of their lives and go through so much trauma and never heal. This is why I could write Julian so convincingly. I share certain traits with him: babbling too much, getting hyper-fixated on things, getting really excited about something to the point where I'm all about this and I can talk about it for hours, but everybody else is like, you're boring. And I relate to that so much. I guess I could be autistic. That would explain things.
I don't think autism really needs explaining most of the time.
No, it doesn't. It's just something that follows you through life, and you have this feeling nobody understands you because they don't. Yeah. Like, you literally perceive the world in a different way, and then suddenly you're much older and you realize, oh, that makes sense. I can move on with my life now.
That's terrific if that's the case. Yeah. That's really good. But I think you're amazingly brave going to pick up sticks. Either that or bonkers, and going all the way to Edinburgh. It's really, really brave.
I have to, because if I don't, I'm going to hate myself forever for not being brave enough to do it.
Absolutely. And that's what they say. That's what they say about this business. And you're certainly young enough to get it all horribly wrong and start again if you want to, or find another career within the same entertainment business that isn't exactly the same. There's a lot of various things you can do in the business that are similar but not the same. And Edinburgh has a wonderful fringe festival, which is a fantastic showcase for new talent. I think
it's part foolishness, part courage.
Well, there's a little bit of foolishness in every big move, you know. There's always a little bit of caution thrown to the wind. This is a time to take those risks. I am so glad we talked, and I'm sorry we couldn't get you your picture all the time, but we did get to see those beautiful irises in the background. And
yes.
So we kind of have and your lovely blue wall.
Thank you for doing this, and I'm sorry for running over time and blabbing.
There you are. Good luck. Yes. Good luck. Thank you. And keep us posted and make a little make a video.
I already have a video on YouTube.
You should tell people how to find it. Put it in the chat. Hello, lovely to meet you.
It's lovely to see everyone, and it's really nice to have this Friday evening thing. So thank you.
I'm really glad you think so. Are you calling from the UK?
Yeah, I live in suburbs of London.
Whereabouts?
Northwest. It's very kind of
absolutely exactly
on the green belt. So when we're not all stuck in our houses, you can just like go out.
You can actually get out. What's your nearest county?
I think we're actually in Middlesex.
Okay, yeah, all right. How is it there? I mean, I've got friends. I play games with friends in England, and they're always moaning about something. But How is it?
Predisposition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been out for quite some weeks, and
Right. And how do you get food?
well, my spouse goes out. We live with his parents, and his mum's a bit of a whiz of like phoning round all the kosher shops in Edinburgh
Fantastic.
and ordering things.
Brilliant. Were you all living together before this kicked off?
I moved in for a couple of weeks in 2011.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and then I moved my cat in as well. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I
What a
properly
great
got my feet
story.
under the table.
That is brilliant. That is really cool. You all have family meals in the evenings.
Well, on a Friday, yeah, they're Jewish, so we have like Friday night dinner.
Yeah, the Friday night thing.
It's nice. It's kind of nice to have this like sort of enforced togetherness a bit. He was saying earlier that they really like their own company, and I'm also quite like that.
Yeah, there is potentially something really nice about a lot of people removing themselves from the corporate environment for a little while and being reinserted into the domestic environment, to the home.
Yeah,
and
I've been enjoying that.
for those people who are lucky enough to have a family but have kind of forgotten how lucky they are to have a family because they've spent so much time in the office or trying to get ahead or making that extra $10,000, there could be a silver lining to being, actually, you also belong with us in this house just as much as you belong in that office. And this forced retirement from the office may change a few people's minds about how important family is and how cool it is to be around people.
And how important work is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That I think is a plus. I don't think there are many pluses. And I know people are coming up with good, positive things to say about this experience all over the place. And I hope that just changes people's minds about the way we conduct the difference between our home life and our commercial life. It's got really too important. It's so precious to us, this corporate existence.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really that healthy in the long run.
Be a musician is like, it's been part of my identity since I started playing my instrument when I was 4. And it was really cool to also have that as my job. Now I'm not really working very much, and I've got the time, and I'm playing, and it's not because it's something that I have to learn for a job. I'm just like playing stuff, and I've got like a slowly thickening stack of like arrangements that I've written and like playing. Yeah, it's great. And I don't know, having your identity so tied to the thing that's your job is really unhealthy, and I was kind of struggling with that before.
Right. What do you play?
I play the cello.
Oh, beautiful. What inspired you to play the cello?
I have no idea. I was 4 and I insisted on the cello, and I think I was taken to a guitar teacher and I said no and walked out, and that was the wrong thing. I don't remember why I wanted it, but I was like, I want that one.
I'm a huge fan of Jacqueline Dupre, the cello concerto that she plays.
The Elgar one.
The Elgar.
Yes.
Sir John Barbaroli conducting, because she did it again with her future husband. Yeah. But in all honesty, for me, the Barbaroli one is just unbelievable. And Elgar cello concerto. If anybody is interested in a little classical music, I would recommend typing into YouTube Jacqueline Dupre Elgar cello concerto. It's one of the most beautiful stories. This woman, I think she died of multiple sclerosis in the end, and tragically far too young. This cello concerto will take your breath away. It can't be more than 30 minutes long. A couple of pieces of classical music, actually. This is kind of a classical musical time for me. Rock music is really so much part of the unpacking of every day, And classical music is not. It's about looking back and rebalancing the brain a bit. An astonishing symphony by Jean Sibelius.
Oh, I love Sibelius.
It's the 5th symphony. And I challenge people to look up in YouTube when they finish this, or anytime, Sibelius Symphony No. 5, Vienna Philharmonic playing it. And it will knock your socks off. Imagine that you wake up outside and then let the music decide where you go. So that's the only thing I would ask. Just you wake up outside one day or one night, and then let the music, and then listen to the music as if that's where you started. And I'd be really curious to see where you end up. With
a year 5 class, so like 9 and 10-year-olds, where we listen to Vlatova by Smetana, which is about a journey down the River Moldau. We listen to 1 minute of it every week, and criteria was you're on a boat going down the river. Like, what do you see? We wrote stuff down and we discussed it, and we kind of developed this whole narrative, and we made it into a map of this like fantasy river that we'd made collaboratively as a class. And we were just going to put the finishing touches to it, and then we were going to have a little sort of performance of the map to the music for the deputy head of the school the next week, and then it didn't happen, which was...
And then everything collapsed. There's probably a book in this, you know, this collecting everybody's stories of the things that they didn't get done because COVID arrived.
Yeah, half-finished project. Yeah. It was
The
going
project
really well as well.
you play at home.
Yeah, now like yesterday I was playing the Ghostbusters theme. That was really fun.
Absolutely.
I've been playing a lot of trash.
Good.
I did open my book of Beethoven sonatas, and like there's like some that I studied in my teens and kind of bashed bits out, but I haven't come back to that again for weeks. So
It's raining here. I don't know if you can hear it. Is it getting really noisy? Pouring with rain outside. It's got really, really murky. Give you a look. Hang on. Pretty miserable.
oh, it's proper. Yeah, it's a day you want to be inside on, isn't it?
No. Are you sitting on a bench?
Oh no, I'm sitting on my bed.
Oh, okay. You don't have to show me your bed.
Yeah.
I can see the wooden slats behind you, and I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can show you the cat though. He's sleeping next to me.
Oh, there he is. He's a black cat. Does he wander outside?
My spouse put her out today, and then it chucked down, and I realised an hour later that she was out in the rain, and she came in all kind of like bedraggled. And
Yeah, they're pretty good outside. Cats that actually hang out outside are pretty tough about it.
yeah, she's all right. She's not very sociable. Sitting next to me is about as like affectionate.
That's about as affection the most affection
Yeah.
you're ever going to get from that.
Yeah.
Wearing a Star Trek costume from Discovery? Is that
It is
from
Discovery, yes. It's a hoodie. It's like really soft and warm, and I wear it when
really
I
cool? That's really nice.
want to be all cozy.
Absolutely. I think you did very well for someone who came on not really having anything to talk about. I think you managed to say quite a few things that are very interesting. It's been such a real
Yeah.
pleasure to meet you. And please keep playing that cello.
Will do.
Thank you. Happy to meet you, CD.
Oh my gosh, I'm pretty nervous.
I put my spectacles on so I could read your name.
Oh, my name is Maria Aparecida.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's very weird for people who are not Brazilian. So the normal nickname for that is Cida. Everybody in Brazil is called that name because everybody in Brazil is called Maria Aparecida. It's a very common name.
Right.
So when I was an adolescent, I changed it a little bit to Siddig. It was just a joke.
It works. It's not. I don't find it funny. It seems like a nice thing.
It was a joke because we are pretending we are British. So my friend called Lucia, we call her Lucy. And my friend called Tanya, we call her Penny. Something like that. And Cida became Siddig.
Brilliant. It's really cool. Where are you?
I'm from São Paulo.
Oh my goodness.
It's the biggest city in the
The
country.
big place. Absolutely. I've never been to Brazil. I'd love to go. How are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing fine most of the time.
Do you live with people, or are you living alone?
Yeah, I live with my mom and my brother.
Okay, good. That's good company. And
Yeah.
how do you shop? What's your life like in Sao Paulo?
Right now I'm working in the mornings, and in the afternoons I take care of everything else.
And are the grocery stores, the markets open?
They are. Most of my food using the internet.
Good.
Sometimes I have to go to the grocery stores.
Does your mother, she stays in the house the whole time, and your brother and
Yes.
you do the
Yeah,
go
for
out?
sure. I don't let her
Do the
get
crazy.
out.
Yeah. And does your brother work?
He works at home. He make illustration. He
Oh,
draw.
perfect.
So he always work at home from home. So
And you say you work in the mornings?
yes, I'm a teacher. I teach
Oh,
history.
I did miss it. You did tell me that. Absolutely. And you teach young kids or older kids?
13 years old, 14 years old.
And what do they think about all this?
So
Yeah.
kids are loving it because they have more time to play.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you listen to some of the stories that you're hearing in the club in this room, and is that interesting to you to hear what it's like in various states in America and various places in England and stuff like that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
The way to know how things are doing in other places.
Yeah. What do you like to do with in normal life, in free time, in normal free life?
Karate.
Karate.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Brother practices karate as well and jiu-jitsu, so I can practice with him.
Yeah, he can take it. He can
Yeah,
take
for sure.
it. Do you listen to music in the house?
Yes.
Yeah. Because with 3 people, it's difficult to figure out what music you can play.
He listens to different kind of music.
Yeah.
My brother's very into punk rock, but he listens to it more than I do.
Wow.
My mom goes insane.
How did you find Star Trek?
I started with TOS when I was a kid. I just watched DS9 last year. So I found about you just like last year.
Wow. So you've never seen Deep Space Nine? I guess it wasn't on in Brazil.
It wasn't. So I started watching on Netflix last year.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
I used to hear from people who watched DS9 that it was the best Star Trek of all time. And then I watch it and it is the best Star Trek of all time.
It's different. It's really been lovely to be involved in it. And also because I get to meet all these lovely people because of that. I would never have met you or anyone if it hadn't been for that show. So I'm really grateful because I don't think there's the same kind of big fan base for other shows I've done like Game of Thrones, but they're not the same kind of fan base. The Star Trek fan world, it's much more like a family, and it's much more, people communicate with each other a lot more. And but it also has lots of history. So there are generations of people over 70 who are just as excited about it as people who are 15, and they're talking. And that is exciting to me. Well, hopefully you find a friend on this.
I'll try to.
I mean, that's kind of one of the things that we kind of have in common. I think also particularly Bashir fans, because Bashir really is a kind of flag bearer for people who are awkward, who may be not so comfortable socially. And he sort of started off like that. And in a way, he was a bit brash. He overcompensated for his awkwardness by being a kind of know-it-all, saying too much. And he got taught the hard way, along the way. And then he found himself and he found his balance, but he had to grow into it.
But I loved Bashir since the very first minute of DS9.
That's great. I mean, I know that when we first started the show back in the day, people found him really irritating. They really didn't like him.
How can they say that?
Well, that's how it was. I mean, I got that.
To me, Julian was the most human, most caring, most lovely character on the show. Yeah. He was the best. He is the best. You were the best.
Well, thank you. I thank you. And there was a review I read when I first did it, and Bashir throws like a girl.
What?
Yeah, that was the review. That was like, and all the reviews were uniformly bad about the show. Someone should pull up all the old reviews from the show when they first came out, because they are universally terrible. I don't think there was one review that was good about that show. No one got it, not even the press. They didn't get it, they didn't understand what was happening. I really hope that things don't get bad for you in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. And I'm sure that it sounds to me like your mother is lucky to have you, and you are lucky to have your mother and your brother in the same house to look after each other and defend each other against anything that happened. Huge love. I look forward to seeing you next week and the week after.
Yes, every week. Every week I can.
Good, great. And next time I'll find out what you're cooking. It's really, really lovely meeting you, Siddig. Thank you for giving us some of your time.
Thank you.
It's so nice to see you again.
Yeah, I just want to say hi again.
Where are you?
Well, in the eastern part of Germany, right at the border to Poland, actually. So
wow. Okay.
Just a river between me and Poland. So it's
wow. Okay.
That region. I'm fine. I'm work from home.
What do you do?
At the moment, I'm work in health and security management.
Okay.
Kind of telling people how to use a ladder or something like that.
Right.
It isn't my dream job. I just changed jobs last year. Yeah, well, I will do it again. I just got a new one starting September.
Wow, fantastic.
So, it's not the field I studied. I studied history, but there are no jobs in history, of course. So I did a lot of things over the years. This job actually is with waste collection, but almost like public service. So the money is secure, you know, you have a lot of vacation, and I don't know, it's just something I was looking for a long time. So I just do what I just do something for fun in my free time. So
And what kind of fun things do you like to do?
well, I have 2 horses, so I spend time with them. We have
Yeah.
a big garden. I have 2 cats. One is running around here somewhere.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm busy.
You are, because you have to get up very early with horses.
Yes, I started with hers when I was 8 years old. Actually, it was kind of a dream of my mother to have her own horse. But apart from that, working from home is a bit lonely and a bit boring sometimes.
Are you alone?
Well, my mother lives downstairs. When I work, I'm just sitting in front of my laptop. I kind of miss the conversations with my colleagues.
Do you have a date yet for when Ms. Merkel wants to unlock the country?
See, we were never really in lockdown. That's a bit of a problem. It was just where we were supposed to restrict contact to other people, where we're not exactly forbidden, just to keep distance and everything. Now people start to complain. They lose their freedom and stuff, and they start suing the state actually to raise the lockdown, which never happened actually. So shops have been reopening since last week. And the first pictures you saw on TV were people queuing outside some outlet store. They couldn't go shopping for 4 weeks now, and now, well, we can go shopping. It seems to be, we are very, very lucky as a state, because at the moment, I think we have only 30 to 40,000 active cases of the disease.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks the measures are not necessary, and that's a problem. That's kind of a vicious circle, if you want to, because
it's difficult.
I think
it's also
the moment they open it, it will start to raise it again. So
I mean, I don't know enough about. I mean, I know what I read in the paper. I know what I hear on TV. I don't know whether some of these things are the way that it should unfold. Maybe we do need to all get out, and you know, or maybe we need to absolutely stay in, or maybe the disease needs to spike, and maybe it doesn't. I mean, it's incredibly difficult to judge. And I suspect that a live and let live attitude is, as long as you can be respectful about the fact that you might actually be the reason why someone else dies or gets ill. That's a big responsibility. But otherwise, the kind of Malthusian effect of you know, human beings being ultimately self-destructive is just going to run its course. We just can't do anything about those guys who just refuse to care. What's your favorite stuff to go and to make? What do you look forward to?
I like to bake things, so like cakes and stuff like that, and cookies for Christmas. Yeah.
Do you listen to music?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Everything
that comes to mind. No idea.
No,
Nothing special.
A lot of wonderful music, and you know, German music. I sometimes cruise around on YouTube just finding stuff. I used to remember back in the old days when Apple first came out, iTunes first came out. You could play the first 15 seconds of every song, and I used to love doing that. I didn't because I hardly bought any songs, but I do it on YouTube. I'll just put a song that looks pretty good, and then it kind of suggests the next song that comes along, and I'll just play that and sort of go down the rabbit hole of YouTube-ness. That's kind of fun. Do you like rock?
Yeah, I do. That what you told me about YouTube, just cruising around, that sometimes I do that when I'm at work, and I have to do really stubborn work. So I just put it on YouTube and I just let it play.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have some interesting background.
Absolutely. I mean, I like you. I like all different kinds of music. I mean, I talked a bit about some classical music I love. It's particularly late romantic, early modernist music. And then I'm a big fan of David Bowie. You know, I'm a big fan of Genesis. But the very early days with before Phil Collins started singing. And I really liked Muse when they first came out. Their first 2 albums were really fantastic. Then they just got a bit huge. I'm like I love all kinds of different things. I'm beginning to figure out getting back into modern music again.
I kind of like old music, the older music from the 70s, from the 80s, which was sometimes before I was born.
Really?
People are always looking at me and think, well, what I like it better than the current stuff, like more guitars, real instruments and real music, real voices. That's what I like.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think it's all pretty much real, but I do think that I respond more to that earthy, authentic, tonal quality of the instruments played by hands. I'd like to do one thing, and I'd like everybody, if they may. Has anybody here in the last week, and that includes you, Uli, had a birthday? There's a good friend of mine right there called Matt, who is waving right now, whose birthday it was yesterday. And I would like us all, please, to give a rousing song. So can we take us all off mute and do a hilarious cacophony of happy birthday to Matt?
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Birthday, Matt!
Birthday!
Birthday!
Hey, do you belong in a zoo? You look like a monkey and smell like one too.
Happy birthday!
Many happy returns.
Happy birthday from Poland!
Very favorite birthday.
Hola!
Greetings from Russia.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much.
From the beginning.
Happy birthday from London. Happy birthday from Scotland.
Birthday!
Happy week. But someone's had a birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you all.
Tried it.
See you next week.